Hello, my name is Juan Felipe, Natalia Peña's brother. She asked me to do this short video to tell you a little bit more about my struggles with my chronic disease. Basically, I was diagnosed in 2008 with a disease called ulcerative colitis, better known as UC, also as a Crohn's disease. It's a disease that gets your large intestine and also your small intestine. When I was diagnosed back in 2008, I had a series of exams to go through, blood work, endoscopy, colonoscopy, everything to find out exactly, what it was. After I was diagnosed, I was put into some medications. Usually, it was about around 2 3 different type of medications, which one of them usually was about 5 to 6 pills a day. During that time, I went through a period that I was taking medications for a long period of time, until the disease or the chronic disease was calm. Usually, with that disease, chronic disease, is usually you get flare-ups. Flare-ups meaning that you start losing blood through your stool. Around that time, I was going approximately, I would say, between around 6 to 10 times a day, losing a lot of blood, and also by losing blood, I was becoming really weak. I also lost a lot of weight. That was a period when I was still on medication, but not as much. Once that happened, it's a period which you flare up, meaning that you went back to your disease and you had to take all those medications again, all over again. So basically, you will have to go back to the doctor. He will prescribe you those medications again, and once again, you will have to be on those until your flare up comes completely down. So during that time, it was really tough for me to go to school. By that time, I was a sophomore in college. I was struggling to keep up my grades up, because it was usually, I was good for 3 months, and all of a sudden I went back to being like really sick again. Would last another 3 months, and then going back to, being sick again. Basically, it wasn't a good lifestyle for me. I couldn't do anything that I was used to be doing in high school, which, playing soccer. I was on the high school soccer team. I was also on the club soccer team, which, practice every day. And physical movement every single day. I was really into sports during that time. I ate good. I barely stayed out of, sodas, fast foods, fatty foods. But once I got diagnosed, basically the doctors told me that there's no really explanation as to how I got, this disease. Some of them blame it to, stress, maybe the type of foods that I was eating. Others, blame it on chronic, maybe if one of your family members had it or not. But basically, they narrow down those things, but they never, explain to you exactly where it comes from. So basically, I had to deal with that my whole throughout 2008. Around 2009 came in. It was a point when, I was, like I said, it was good, and then all of a sudden I went back to flare up. Going to the bathrooms around 10 times a day, losing blood, becoming weak. So it became to a point that I was not, having a good lifestyle. I was not being myself. And then one day I really, stay all in bed all day. I couldn't eat. I mean, everything I wanted to eat, I wanted to, to vomit. I mean, like I said, it was not really good for me during that time. I remember that day I stayed in bed all day. I didn't eat breakfast. I didn't want to get up from my bed. I went to the bathroom around 10 or 15 times, and then during that day, I said, you know what, it was enough. Enough is enough. I had to go to the emergency room because I was becoming really weak. I could barely stand up. I was not able to drink anything. Once I got there, my hemoglobin was around 6. It's usually, for a normal person, it's around 12. When I got to the hospital, it was around, 6. I had to get some blood transfusion, around, 4, which usually you only get about 2. Once I got there, my doctor, who was, oversaw my sickness and who was taking care of me, he said that, there was nothing that we couldn't do. I mean, there was nothing, like, the medicines were certainly not working. You know, the medicines I was, the foods that I was eating most likely were not, working, and I couldn't live this lifestyle. He said that, my next step was, maybe to get surgery, because although it was not a cure, it was something that it was going to be beneficial to me. I was, young. I could handle, a big surgery, what it was. And then we decided to go with the surgery. At that point, my parents were not really into getting the surgery. They knew it was, life risk surgery, general anesthesia, everything. I was going to lose one of my organs, which was my large intestine. We thought it over. And I remember that night that we thought it over, it was, one of my worst nights ever. And during a period of 12 hours, I maybe got up to go to the bathroom around 20 times. I had extremely stomach pains, which not even the biggest pain medication they gave me will not stop it. And I was losing a lot of blood. I became really weak that night. And then I remember the next morning, I decided with my parents, listen, this is not the life I wanted to go through. This is not something, I want to be good for 6 months and then 3 months, I'm all right. Something that I didn't want to live to. Even though the surgery was, is going to be life changing, I was not gonna, like I said, not gonna have one of my, one organ in my body. I started doing research and found out that some people that got at a young age, they managed to, live a normal life. Start doing the stuff that they did before. Pain-free medication, no prescription medications at all. So I decided to go ahead with the surgery. I remember 2 days later, they prepared me to go to surgery. The first surgery went fine. It's actually a 2-step surgery, which they had to cut my large intestine, and with the small intestine they actually have to do like kind of the function which a large intestine does. So it's a 2-step surgery. I remember doing the first step. It was a 10-week period, which I went back home. Struggle as well, because when I went back home, there were certain foods that I couldn't eat. I had to watch my diet. And then for some reason I also got sick when I was home. I had to be in the hospital again for emergency. I was there for another week. Came home back again. Was fine for another 2 weeks, and then all of a sudden I got bad again. I had to go back to the hospital for another a week and a half. I mean, during that period of 2008 was really bad for me, having this chronic disease. Finally, the second step surgery came around, which was the final takedown surgery. During the whole process, I pretty much lost almost, I would say, 50 pounds, 50 to 60 pounds. Last time, I remember walking with my mother through, throughout those surgeries, and the doctors and the nurses tell you, don't be too sedentary, don't stay too much in bed, walk around. I remember walking with my mother, and I saw, a scale there, and I told her, let me see how much I weigh now. When I got down that scale, I was like, I began, to cry. I was like, how can I, from weighing almost 170, 175, I was almost down to 100 pounds. I mean, it was the scariest thing I've ever lived through. I mean, I lost almost 70 pounds through the whole process. And how much, a disease can actually impact your life, and not only your life, but the people around you, your family, friends. I isolated from my friends completely during that year. I didn't want to see anybody to see me sick. I didn't want to see anybody, feel sorry for me. I stayed, as you can see, maybe in these four walls throughout that year. It's really tough. I mean, maybe you can ask my sister. She was. I remember it was her senior year in high school. Actually, her junior year in high school, and it was really tough. Seeing her, also cry, my family cry. And that's the reason why I wanted, to isolate myself, from everyone during that period, because it was really tough. Then, like I said, the second surgery came in, which was the final surgery. I was really happy about it. Completely grateful that everything was gonna be over with. I was gonna, go back home. Gain my, my actual weight, gain my actual life. To start being physical again. To play, to go out with friends, have fun. Play sports again. And I remember coming out of the hospital during the second surgery, and I got home. My parents, my family was waiting for me. They did a welcome back party. I was really happy to see them again. Some of them were like really shocked at the way appearance. I was really skinny. Losing that much weight, it changes your physical appearance completely. But I thought, what, this is it. This is my, I'm gonna take this as an opportunity that God provided to me. And here we go again. It was good, and then I remember a month later. Actually, yeah, it was around a month. All of a sudden, around midnight, I went up to get up to the bathroom. I came back to my bed. I laid down, and all of a sudden I started feeling, this stomach pain, which it was something I have never in my life felt before. And now through my first and my second surgery, or in between those surgeries, it was nothing. The after surgeries, the pain was, a little high, but not as high as I felt that night. It was so high that I couldn't even speak. I couldn't even, call out my parents to come and help me. It was a funny story because I had my phone next to me, and it was around, like around 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and I had to call my parents, so they can actually come and get me to take me to the hospital, because it was something that, I couldn't deal with. I remember calling my dad, and he completely ignored my call. He hung up on me. And I called my mom, and she did the same thing. I assumed that they thought it was the alarm clock, and they actually accidentally hung up on me. After calling them a few times, they actually picked up. They came immediately to my room. I was laying down. I can barely, speak, and I was not able to stand up or even sit down. It was, my stomach, it was like getting like a big cramp in it, which you can, barely move, barely talk. I remember I had some pain medications, from the surgery. I had to take around 2. Nothing happened. And that was it. I mean, within 15 minutes, we were in the hospital. The lady in the nurse there, set me right away. They took me immediately to a room to see what was wrong with me. the only thing I knew I was begging them to do was to give me something for the pain. They gave me right away, something for the pain. They put the IV, they threw it through the IV, and I felt like nothing was happening. I felt like, the pain was not changing, it was not going down. I remember, by applying so much pain medication, even though the pain was not going away, it makes you drowsiness. So I was able, a little calm down, a little fall asleep, but the pain was still there. My doctor came in, he received that emergency call, and he said right away to do a CT scan. Right away they did a CT scan, and they found out that I had what's called a peritonitis, which basically is there was a little feature on my small intestine, because like I said, I didn't have a large intestine anymore, so there was a little feature on my small intestine, and what happened was there was a lot of bacteria in my stomach, and that's what was causing the pain. He said that thankfully it was not spread over to my organs, just the inside of the stomach. But he said that if I was, if I wasn't there, maybe 30, 20, 30 minutes, I was gonna die. I mean, it was so much pain. What they had to do an emergency surgery. I had to open up my stomach again, basically, clean it up with, he said that he used around 10 liters, of whatever, an antibacterial liquid that they use. The surgery lasted almost, like 7 hours. My doctor, actually, the surgeon, was so afraid that they had given me so much pain medication that I was not gonna go through, go beyond the surgery. He said that so much pain medication was given to me that he was afraid that I was gonna lay there in the surgery room. It was really risky, the surgery, based on how much pain medication they had given me before. But like I said, I don't know. Thankfully, I'm here. I guess with the support of my parents, my sister, my family members, friends. I can say thankfully I'm alive. God gave me a second chance, to life. I remember when I came out of the surgery, I was still dizzy, a lot of pain, but still with that pain medication, like I said, it makes you a little drowsiness. You don't know what you're saying, and the only thing I do remember was my surgeon, telling me that this is the first case he has seen, from all the procedures he has done, that from all the surgeries he has done, the first case that after, the second surgery, barely nothing happens to the patient, but this was his first case of a peritonitis after, the second surgery that he did on me. He said he couldn't explain, what happened, that he was, he felt sorry for himself. It was actually the first time I saw a doctor, kind of feel sorry for himself. I guess, because like I said, he did not know what went wrong after the second surgery. Thankfully, like I said, I was able to come back home. After that third and final surgery, I was, really in pain. I was in the hospital for almost 2 weeks. During those hospital, stays, you can't, a big surgery in your stomach, you can't eat for like approximately 1 week. They first start you with liquids. Second, they start you with a little bit of more solid food. But it's really tough. I mean, like I said, between, I would say, February and November of 2009, it's a period which I want to completely erase out of my life. I still have memories, and from those memories, what I've grown to, I feel like I'm a better person now than what I was before and during, the surgeries. Before I was, maybe because from all the medicines that I took in, they put me a little grumpy. Sometimes I fell into depression. And same thing throughout during the surgeries. I mean, I was looking at myself at the mirror. I mean, I was unrecognizable. That gets you a lot of depressed. I mean, not seeing your friends, not seeing your family members, and seeing your family struggle the same way you're struggling. It was really difficult. But I think I'm leaving those bad moments behind. I'm a better person now. I believe that God gave me a second chance for a reason. And I'm trying to do my best. You know, not to be the same person that I was before. Take life one day at a time because I know what I went through, and like I said, one day we might be here, and the next day we might not be here. So I'm taking a day at a time. Being grateful that I'm alive each and every single day. Um, and thankfully, right now, I still have some, I don't have the disease anymore, but not having my largest intestine, I still go approximately 3 to 5 times a day to the bathroom, which compared to before, it's not that bad. Compared to 10 to 15 times a day, it's not as bad. It's not as bad. I'm able to do stuff that I was able to do before. Play soccer, go to the gym a little bit more. And thankfully, I don't weigh 100 pounds anymore. Right now I weigh 160, so I was able to gain back my actual weight that I had before. uh, you know and like I said, I started going back to school. I don't have to be worried about being good for 6 months and then bad for 3 months. But like I said, I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't have a normal life. I don't have a normal life, like a regular person does. Like, I still worry about, what type of foods I have to eat, liquids that I have to drink. For example, going on a long trip, I know that I have to have maybe a near bathroom nearby, just in case, I have to go. So it's been difficult. I mean, my life has completely, changed around. I have to, know that, there's a few times when a big trip, a long trip, a drive I cannot do. Frequently stops. And it's something like maybe a regular person who doesn't know me, who doesn't understand or haven't been in my shoes and doesn't understand what I have gone through, you know, they don't kind of understand. So, and sometimes it's not that I'm, shy of what happened to me. I just want to keep it in the past. I don't want, not everyone knowing what I went through, and they can view me, just as a regular person, someone that goes through his regular life, has no problems. But sometimes when I go on vacation with friends, my family, and they find out, how come he goes frequently to the bathroom. Sometimes I have to explain them, and like I said, I don't want them to view me differently from what I was before. Other than that, I'm grateful that I don't have to take medications anymore. Um, I can do stuff. Play sports. I'm in school. I'm about to graduate right now. After almost taking a year and a half away. I mean, because of the disease. And basically, yeah, that's it. I hope you guys, if you guys, have friends, family members, or even yourself who have gone through the same, same type of chronic disease that I have. I mean, like I said, don't be afraid to research, find out what's good for you, find out what medications are good for you, find out, resources that can help you. There's sometimes side effects, which maybe the medication you're taking, or maybe just the chronic disease is taking up on you. Find out, more information, find out what you can do, find out what we can help people, with my disease, not to get it, okay? Other than that, I want to thank my sister who asked me to do this short video for you guys. And if you have any questions, you can ask her, and just let me know how the project went. Okay, Thank you. Bye bye.